right, welcome back to The Drive. Today is December 29th. It is a Monday. Just got back from some travels with the family, and I'm headed to get an infusion for my Crohn's disease. So every 8 weeks to manage my Crohn's, I get an infusion of a biologic called infliximab, otherwise known as Remicade. And essentially, from what I understand, it essentially kind of helps control your immune system in a way that will keep it from attacking your body. So Crohn's disease, which is inflammatory bowel disease, is essentially kind of like one of those things where your body attacks itself, and your gut will chronically stay inflamed. And I tried a lot of different routes prior to getting diagnosed to heal it naturally. I went and saw multiple functional medicine doctors, had tons of lab work done, did a bunch of stool samples, the whole 9 yards, and nothing seemed to work long term. I would do an extreme diet for a little while, and it would work, and then my symptoms would come back. And unfortunately, it just kind of led to me realizing that I needed to get this thing checked out because it was affecting literally every aspect of my life. I was going to the restroom 10 plus times a day, was having severe stomach cramping, was having to leave meetings with clients just to go to the restroom because I was in so much pain. And so it was definitely one of those decisions I made for myself, but also for my family, because it was causing me to be a less present husband and father. And eventually I just hit that point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go get this checked out. And that's when I got my body looked at under the scope. I went and got a colonoscopy and endoscopy. So they did basically a look through my esophagus, all the way down to the upper part of my digestive tract, and then also did the colonoscopy, which is where they look at the lower part of the digestive tract, or GI tract, excuse me. And essentially, they almost stopped the colonoscopy because right when they got inside, they said it was so bad and so inflamed that they almost just pulled out and didn't do any biopsies or anything like that. But they kind of diagnosed me on the spot with ulcerative colitis, and that's usually more related to inflammation in the lower part of your gastrointestinal tract. And then I got later diagnosed by another doctor with Crohn's. After they looked at all the images and stuff they did with the EGD and colonoscopy, they were like, dude, you definitely have Crohn's. So all that to say, this is something that I would love to handle from a natural perspective and heal naturally without having to go get an infusion of a biologic or a drug every 8 weeks I'm doing right now. But I think I was also kind of desperate. And a part of the story that I'm kind of cutting out, and I'll keep this brief because this really isn't pertaining to my decision to take Remicade quite as much, but I got super sick right after I got diagnosed as well. This was in 2023, so this is 3 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. Actually, no, 3 years ago. Just kidding. I basically hit the point where, right after I got diagnosed, I was having some weird symptoms, right around my nether regions down there by my butt, and decided to go get that looked at, and then wound up having an infection. That infection got worse and worse and worse until I went septic and ended up having to go into the hospital in the ER multiple times, got admitted to the hospital, had multiple different procedures done on that area. It was an absolute nightmare, and it left me in pain for literally months. I was probably the darkest point of my life. I was very, very down and out. So after all of that happened, I looked at my wife and I said, look, this is something that, while I would love to do it naturally, right now it's quite literally affecting my ability to show up as a husband and a father, and that's my top priority right now in this season of my life. And so I went and started the Remicade process, and they basically have you get it week 1, they'll give you a dose, and then they have you do it, I think week 2. Yeah, they go 2 weeks later, you get another dose, and then 4 weeks after that. So there's a 6-week onboarding process where they hit it really, really hard and give you multiple different infusions. And then after that, it's usually people will do a maintenance of every 8 weeks. If every 8 weeks isn't working, then they'll shorten it down to every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks, things like that. I know some people that go even shorter than that if their symptoms are really, really harsh. But for the most part, every 8 weeks has been working. I've been doing this now for over a year now, year and a half at this point. So I'm feeling really good. I think overall, like, my body's responded really well to the Remicade and the biologic and stuff. So not really sure how long it'll work for or how long I'll have to do this for, maybe forever, but we'll see. So today we're heading into the office. We're gonna go get this done. This is usually like a 2.5 hour process by the time I get there and sit down in the chair. My nurse gives me an IV, and then she starts the infusion process at that point, and the infusion is only like 2 hours long. So this is what we got to do right now, this season of life. I felt amazing, just for the record. Everyone's had different experiences. Like, if you have Crohn's disease or inflammatory bowel disease, everyone's had different experiences with different drugs. This specific one has worked really well for me up to this point. I feel like I have my life back, honestly. Not like this is like an ad for people to do this, but like, I was in dire straits before I started doing Remicade, and I feel a lot better now. So very grateful for modern medicine, and yeah, just grateful to be able to you know, have the ability and the access to getting care like this so that I can participate in life like a normal human being. All right, just got parked. I'm gonna head inside and go get this infusion done. If you guys have any questions about any of the stuff that I just chatted about, make sure you drop them in the comments. I'm gonna go get this done. I'll bring you along for some of it, and then we'll do a little bit of a debrief afterwards. All right, folks, there you have it. That is what I have to do every 8 weeks to treat my my Crohn's disease. Again, it's an infusion of Remicade. It only took me about 2.5 hours end to end. My appointment was at 9:30, and it's currently 11:55. I'm heading home to see my family. Once again, guys, just want to reiterate, this was a personal decision for me to use this as my form of treatment. But I just want to share this part of my journey with you all, because I think it's important for you guys to see that someone who has, you know, worked in the health and fitness industry for the better part of 7 years now also can have something like this happen to them. And regardless of how hard I tried to treat things naturally, I hit a point where I needed to get my body feeling good and feeling healthy again so that I could be the best husband, father, business owner, and just overall version of myself. And to be totally honest, like, getting treated has been a huge part of my overall journey. Before I got on Remicade, my body was in shambles. Like, I had joint pain, you know, in my neck, my upper back, my hips, my sacrum area. Everything was so inflamed all the time that sometimes I would literally, like, this was back when I had first started posting content, I would go out in the garage and do my best to work out, but sometimes I could only get through like a couple sets before I would literally be on the ground, like, in pain. And I would be doing it so that I could film some content or film exercise demo videos for the people that I was training. Again, this was like back in like 2020 when I very first started getting into the fitness industry and posting content online and training people online. It was important to me back then to just try and stay as consistent as possible with content production and things like that, because I knew that my business relied on it. And so for me, it was just a matter of like, hey, like, what can I do right now to basically optimize the way I feel? And back then, I was just doing everything I could to make it through one day at a time without hopefully, like, you know, pissing things off and putting myself into a spiral of pain for the proceeding several days after that. One of the silver linings of having Crohn's disease and having something technically like wrong with me is that I don't think I'll ever overlook or not have empathy for people who come to me that are suffering from something that causes them pain. Whether that's physical pain or emotional pain, I now have been through an experience in my life where, like, I was in so much pain that I could barely function as a human being, let alone as a husband and father. And I think that was something that really hit home to me, was being able to now kind of be on the other side of, you know, what I typically help people get through, and being the person that was in pain and needed help myself. And so I think that's given me a massive perspective shift when it comes to how I coach people and like relationships I have, the relationship I have with my wife and my children. It was very, very important for me to almost like have that happen to me, because before that, I feel like I didn't really have a lot of empathy. I just was taught what I was taught in PT school on how to treat people that had low back pain, or maybe they were recovering from a surgery or whatever, but I didn't truly understand like how much that could be affecting someone, not just like physically, like while I was working with them, you know, in the PT clinic, but also outside of the clinic, you know, in their personal life, mentally. I struggled mentally for a long time. So, you know, it was a very, very, you know, good like learning experience for me, and thankfully like wasn't so severe that I had to get something that was, you know, incredibly life altering per se. But I had several surgeries and was able to recover well from those, and now I'm back and I'm healthy again, and I can do everything that I want to be able to do in life unhindered, which is a massive blessing and something I definitely don't take for granted. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I just made this to share this part of my journey with you. If you guys have any questions about what I've been through, or really like anything regarding the process of me getting diagnosed or anything like that, I can always make more videos on this. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here and supporting this page. If you want any of my free programs or to jump on a free trial on my app, just check the links in the description. Appreciate you guys. We will see you guys on the next one.